Imagine discovering the person you love has no heartbeat. Imagine realizing you're surrounded by brides who died before you. Everyone noticed it first. The stranger who courted Princess Kemi never blinked. His shadow never matched his footsteps. But she didn't listen. Hey there, pour a cup of tea, get comfy, and let your heart listen. The story's about to start. Welcome to Tales Vibe, where laughter and lessons flow together. If you love a good story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more tales every week, and please tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We'd love to know where our story family is tuning in from. Princess Kemi was the pride of the Adarimi royal family. As the only daughter of the king, she grew up with respect, comfort, and every privilege a young woman could hope for. People admired her confidence, her gentle nature, and the way she carried herself with dignity. Many kingdoms sent messengers to ask for her hand in marriage, but Kemi refused them one after another. Whenever her mother, Queen Mornike, brought up the topic of marriage, Kemi would smile softly and shake her head. "Mama, I don't want just any man," she would say. "I want someone special. Someone who will love me for who I am, not because of my father's crown." The queen always sighed. "My daughter, this is not how royal life works. Suitors do not come every day with such gifts. You cannot keep rejecting them." But Kemi stood her ground. "I will not marry a man who sees me as a prize. I want someone who makes my heart rest. Someone whose words touch my soul." Even the palace elders grew concerned. Princes from powerful families had offered cattle, gold, land, and alliances. Some traveled long distances just to greet her father. Yet Princess Kemi remained firm. She told her maids that she wanted a man who was different, calm, thoughtful, and not hungry for power. Her maids, Titi, Ronk, and Ao, enjoyed teasing her about it. "A whole princess like you," Titi would say, "waiting for love like a village girl." Ronk added, "If you reject one more prince, the king will call a meeting." Ao smiled and touched Kemi gently. "Princess, what exactly are you looking for?" Kemi laughed. "I don't know yet, but when I see him, I will know." Still, deep inside, she felt a quiet longing. She wanted a man who would look at her and see a woman. Not a crown, not power, not status. Someone who would speak to her like an equal, not a princess they hoped to win. Her mother grew tired of her stubbornness. One afternoon, after another suitor left in disappointment, the queen sat beside her. "Kemi," she said gently, "your choices are beginning to worry everyone. Are you sure you know what you want?" Kemi nodded. "Yes, Mama. I want a man who is different. Someone whose presence touches me in a way I cannot explain." The queen shook her head. "Just be careful, my daughter. The world is not as simple as your heart believes." Kemi smiled softly, unaware that her desire for something different would soon lead her into a fate she never imagined. Princess Kemi woke up the next morning with the same unsettled feeling she had been carrying for months. Her mother's words still lingered in her mind. "Be careful, my daughter." Kemi understood the warning, but she also knew her heart would not accept a man chosen out of fear or pressure. Later that day, she decided to visit the royal stream with her 3 maids, Titi, Ronk, and Ao. It was one of the few places where she could breathe freely and think without being watched by elders or courtiers. Her guards followed at a distance while the maids chatted behind her, joking softly about the previous suitor who nearly fainted when she rejected him. As they reached the stream area, Kemi bent to fill her calabash. Then she heard a gentle voice behind her. "Princess Kemi." Her maids turned instantly. Standing a short distance away was a tall, handsome young man. His name, as he introduced himself, was Deo. He looked unfamiliar, yet there was something calming about him. His clothes were neat, his posture confident, and his face carried a quiet charm that felt different from the proud princes who often visited the palace. Kemi straightened herself and faced him. "You know my name, but I don't know you." Deo smiled. "Forgive me, princess. I have heard of your grace. I have been traveling, and I came to this kingdom for one reason, to meet you." Ronk raised her brows slightly. "Another suitor," she murmured to Titi. But Kemi ignored their whispers. Something about Deo's voice felt unusually soothing. He stepped closer, still respectful of her space. "I did not come to drop gifts or to impress your family," he continued. "I came because my heart told me I would find someone special here." Kemi felt a spark of curiosity. "And why do you think I am the one you seek?" Deo held her gaze. "Because when I look at you, I don't see a crown. I see a woman who deserves true companionship." The words struck her deeply. No prince had ever spoken to her like that. Most boasted about their wealth or power. Deo spoke differently, calm, simple, and without arrogance. Her maids exchanged glances. Titi whispered, "Princess, be careful, oh, smooth talkers plenty for this world." Ao nudged her. "But his voice is fine, Shah." Kemi ignored them again and studied the stranger. "Where are you from, Deo?" He smiled slightly. "A place not too far from here, but far enough to make this meeting special." His answer was vague, but his confidence made her curious rather than suspicious. "Why did you seek me?" Kemi asked quietly. "Because," he said, "you are the woman my spirit has been waiting for." The words settled in Kemi's chest like a gentle pull. Nobody had ever spoken to her with such certainty. For the first time, she felt the kind of connection she had always imagined. Before she could respond, Deo bowed politely. "I will not trouble you today, Princess. But I will come again." With that, he turned and walked away, leaving Kemi staring after him, her heart beating with a feeling she had never known. It was the beginning of a path she could never turn back from. Princess Kemi could not stop thinking about Deo after their meeting at the stream. His calm voice, his gentle confidence, and especially the way he spoke to her like he already understood her heart. Everything replayed in her mind. For the first time, she felt drawn to someone without feeling forced or judged. Her maids noticed the change immediately. "Princess, your mind is far," Ronk said one evening as she brushed Kemi's hair. Titi added, "Since that stranger came, you've not been the same." Ao, always the bold one, leaned closer. "Did you like him?" Kemi didn't answer at first. Then she whispered, "He is different." The maids exchanged looks but said nothing more. Whatever Kemi felt, they knew she would not easily admit it. 2 days after their meeting, Deo returned, just as he promised. He came quietly to the palace entrance and asked to see Princess Kemi. When a guard delivered the message, Queen Mornike became restless. "That stranger again?" the queen asked with concern. "Kemi, I don't know this man. I don't trust him. Don't meet him." But Kemi felt a strong pull she could not explain. "Mama, he is not like the others. Let me talk to him." The queen shook her head. "This is not wise." Still, Kemi insisted. She stepped outside the palace gate to meet Deo. Her maids followed closely behind, unwilling to leave her alone. Deo smiled when he saw her. "Princess, thank you for coming." Her heart softened. "Why are you here again?" "To take you somewhere important," he said. "A place where we can talk freely. A place where you can see who I truly am." Titi stepped forward immediately. "Princess is not going anywhere." Ronk nodded. Her mother didn't approve. Deo's eyes remained calm. "I will not harm her." Kemi's curiosity grew stronger. "Where do you want to take me?" "A little walk," Deo said softly. "Just you and me." Ao whispered sharply, "Princess, don't follow him, oh." But the pull in Kemi's chest refused to fade. Deo's voice felt like something she had known before, something familiar and comforting. "My maids will follow us," Kemi said firmly. Deo looked at them for a moment, then gave a slow nod. "As you wish." Against her mother's warning, Kemi stepped closer to him. Her maids walked behind her, determined to protect her at all costs. The guard stayed back as instructed. Kemi felt her heart race, not from fear, but from a strange excitement she could not fully explain. As they walked away from the palace, Princess Kemi had no idea that each step was pulling her closer to a fate far darker than anything she had ever imagined. Princess Kemi followed Deo deeper along the narrow footpath, her maids close behind her. Titi kept whispering warnings, Ronk muttered complaints, and Ao watched Deo carefully like she was expecting trouble. But nothing they said could pull Kemi's mind away from the strange pull she felt toward him. "Princess, this place is too quiet," Titi whispered. Ronk added, "I don't like this at all." Ao stepped forward. "Deo, where exactly are you taking us?" Deo turned slightly and gave a small smile. "We're almost there. I just want to show Kemi something important." Kemi noticed how calm he looked. There was no fear, no rush. Just that same gentle confidence that drew her in from the beginning. "Don't worry," Kemi said to her maids. "I trust him." The maids exchanged worried glances but continued walking. After a short while, Deo suddenly stopped. "You cannot go beyond this point," he said, looking at the 3 maids. Ao frowned. "And why not?" Titi stepped forward angrily. "Princess Kemi cannot go anywhere without us." Ronk nodded. "We will follow her everywhere." Deo's expression didn't change. "This path is not for you. Only Kemi can come with me." Kemi's heart tightened. "Deo, they're my maids. They always follow me." Deo looked at her gently. "Princess, they will slow you down." Ao clicked her tongue. "We are not leaving her." Before Kemi could speak again, something strange happened. A cold rush passed through the path. Not wind, not air, just a sudden force. All three maids gasped at the same time. "Princess," Titi whispered weakly. Kemi turned to her in confusion. "Titi." Ronk staggered. "My chest. I can't breathe." Ao dropped to her knees, her eyes wide with fear. "Princess, run." Before Kemi could even reach them, the three maids collapsed to the ground, silent, still gone. Kemi froze, shock gripping every part of her body. "No. Titi. Ronk. Ao." She tried to shake them, but their bodies lay lifeless. Her voice broke. "Deo, what happened to them?" Deo touched her shoulder gently. "They are not allowed on this path. Only you were meant to follow me." Kemi's tears fell instantly. Her maids, her closest friends, were gone simply because they followed her. She tried to step back. "Take me home," she whispered shakily. "I don't want to continue." But Deo held her hand firmly. "Princess Kemi, it is too late to go back. You have already chosen." Kemi looked down at her maids one last time, her heart breaking. She felt trapped, not by force, but by the strange pull that still held her to Deo. With trembling steps, and her heart heavy with grief, she followed him further down the path, unaware that her life had already crossed into a place she could never return from. Princess Kemi followed Deo in silence, her eyes still wet from crying. The image of her three maids lying lifeless on the ground refused to leave her mind. Each step felt heavy, but Deo's grip on her hand kept her moving forward. She wanted to pull away, but some strange force inside her refused to let go. "Deo, why did they die?" she whispered weakly. "They were not meant to enter this path," he replied calmly. "But you were chosen." Kemi didn't understand what he meant, yet she felt too drained to argue. She walked beside him, unsure of what awaited her, but afraid of what might happen if she ran. After a long, quiet stretch, they reached a settlement. Kemi immediately noticed the people walking around, slow, pale, and silent. None of them looked fully alive, yet none looked completely dead. Their eyes were hollow, and their movements felt unnatural. Kemi's heart trembled. "Where are we?" Deo smiled slightly. "My home." She swallowed hard, her fear rising. This place didn't feel right. She had never seen people like this before. Their faces carried something empty, something lost. Deo led her toward a large house at the center of the settlement. As they stepped inside, Kemi felt a strange chill in her chest. Not cold, but unsettling. She stopped walking. "Deo, this place is not normal," she said quietly. "I don't think I should be here." Deo faced her. "This is where you belong now." The firmness in his voice made her chest tighten. Inside the house, Kemi saw a group of young women sitting together. Their faces were expressionless, their skin pale like the others outside. When they saw Kemi, they exchanged glances, sad, tired glances. One of them stepped forward. She looked no older than Kemi. "You're new," the girl said softly. "What is your name?" "Kemi," she whispered. The girl nodded slowly, her eyes full of pity. "My name is Amaka. I was brought here the same way. Just like all of us." Kemi stared at them in confusion. "What do you mean?" Another girl sighed. "Deo brought you here, right? That means you are his new wife." Kemi's heart dropped. "Wife? No, that can't be true." The group exchanged sad looks. "It is true," Amaka continued. "We were once alive too. He brings us here, and once we enter this place, there is no going back. Deo is not human." Kemi felt her legs weaken. "Then what is he?" A quiet voice answered from the back. "He is a ghost, and now you belong to him." Kemi's breath caught in her throat. The handsome stranger she trusted, the man she felt connected to, was not a man at all, and she had stepped into his world. Kemi stood frozen as Amaka's words echoed in her ears. "He is a ghost, and now you belong to him." Her heart pounded, and for the first time since she left the palace, she felt true fear settle into her bones. Amaka gently guided her to sit. "Kemi, calm down. If you panic, it will only get worse." Kemi shook her head. "This cannot be real." Deo looked human. He spoke like a human. A girl named Ngozi stepped forward. "That is how he traps us. He knows what each woman wants to hear. He becomes the perfect man until it is too late." Kemi's chest tightened. "My maids, they died because of him." Amaka nodded sadly. "The path leading here rejects the living who are not chosen. Only Deo's bride can survive it." Kemi clenched her fists as tears filled her eyes. "I didn't choose him. I didn't know." Another girl, Simi, spoke softly. "None of us knew. I was a trader's daughter. Ngozi was the daughter of a farmer. Amaka was a seamstress. He found us when we were alone and vulnerable. Kemi swallowed hard. Why haven't you escaped? The wives exchanged long, tired looks. Amaka exhaled. Because once you enter his house and eat his food, your body becomes like ours. Kemi stared at them properly for the first time. Their faces were dull, their eyes lifeless, and their movements slow, almost drained of energy. I have not eaten anything, Kemi said quickly. That is your only advantage, Ngozi replied. But Deo will soon try to feed you. Once you taste anything from him, you lose your strength and become trapped forever. Kemi felt her stomach twist. So what do I do? Simi pointed to a corner where a small mat lay. For now, pretend to accept everything. If you show fear or resistance, he becomes aggressive. Kemi swallowed. But can he really hurt me? Amaka lowered her voice. Kemi, Deo is not like the spirits from stories. He is powerful. If he gets angry, the whole house will obey him. Kemi trembled slightly. What does he want from us? He wants wives, Ngozi whispered. He wants company. He wants control. A heavy silence filled the room. Then Amaka leaned closer. There is something you must know. Some of us believe there is a way out, but it is dangerous. Kemi's eyes widened. Tell me. Amaka glanced toward the doorway, making sure Deo wasn't near. Deo hides his heart somewhere in this house. A ghost cannot live without a heart. If you find it and destroy it, you will be free. Kemi felt a spark of hope flicker inside her fear. Amaka squeezed her hand gently. You are the newest. You are the strongest. You may be our only chance. Kemi took a slow breath. She didn't know where Deo's heart was. But she now knew one thing. She would not die here. Kemi sat quietly among the ghost wives, Amaka's last words ringing in her ears. You may be our only chance. Her body trembled slightly, but her mind refused to accept defeat. She had lost her maids, her freedom, and her peace, but she would not lose herself. Kemi, Simi whispered, you must be very careful. Deo watches everything. Kemi nodded slowly. I understand, but if his heart is hidden somewhere in this house, how do I find it? Ngozi leaned closer. There is a story all of us have heard. Deo's heart is kept inside a black stone. He protects it more than anything. Simi added, we believe he keeps it in a wooden box. It is locked with a small key he wears on his body. Kemi's eyes widened. The chain on his neck? Amaka nodded. Yes, we have all seen it. He never removes it. The key is always close to him. Kemi felt a small flame of determination rise inside her. If I get that key, I can open the box. That is the beginning, Ngozi whispered. But the black stone itself is the real danger. That stone holds all his power. When he is angry, it glows. When he is calm, it remains dark. Kemi swallowed. And to destroy it? Amaka shook her head. No one knows how. We only know that once the heart is destroyed, this place will collapse and the spirits will be free. Kemi felt a chill run through her, not from fear, but from the weight of the task. Just then, they heard footsteps approaching. The ghost wives straightened immediately, returning to their dull posture. Kemi copied them, forcing her face to relax. Deo entered the room with a soft smile. My beautiful Kemi, he said gently. Are you settling in well? Kemi lowered her gaze like the others had taught her. Yes, I am trying. Deo looked pleased. Good. Soon you will feel at home. I brought food for you. Her heart jumped. This is what they warned me about. Simi whispered under her breath. Don't eat. Kemi shook her head quickly. Thank you, Deo, but I am not hungry. He watched her for a moment, his expression unreadable. Then he smiled again. No problem. When you are ready, I will bring more. He left the tray and walked out slowly. The moment he disappeared, Kemi exhaled shakily. Amaka touched her shoulder. Now you understand how careful you must be. But if he suspects anything, Ngozi warned, he will trap you the way he trapped us. Kemi looked toward the door Deo had just exited. I will not let fear stop me, she whispered. If his heart is the key to freedom, then I must find it. Her voice was quiet, but steady. And for the first time, the ghost wives believed freedom might truly be possible. Kemi waited until Deo's footsteps faded completely before turning back to the ghost wives. Her heart beat fast, but not with fear. This time it was determination. We must act fast, she whispered. Deo already thinks I'm settling in. That gives us little time. Amaka nodded. Yes. The moment he feels something is wrong, he becomes suspicious. You must move like you trust him. Ngozi added. Your biggest chance is the moment he relaxes. That is when he removes his guard. Kemi frowned slightly. Does he ever remove the key from his neck? Simi nodded. Only when he sleeps. Deo sleeps deeply, but not for long. You will have a short window. Kemi's mind began to form a plan. So I must get close to him before night. If I keep avoiding him, he will grow suspicious. Amaka sighed. Then you must pretend you are accepting the marriage. Kemi felt her stomach twist at the thought, but she nodded. If that is what it takes to save all of us, I will do it. Ngozi looked at her with quiet admiration. You are brave, Kemi. None of us had the strength to resist him like this. Kemi smiled faintly, though her eyes carried grief from everything she'd lost. I don't feel brave, but I know I cannot let evil win. A moment later, the door creaked softly. The wives tensed, but it was only Deo peeking in. Kemi, he said with gentle warmth, come with me. I want to show you something. Her heart tightened. This is it. This is my chance to gain his trust. Kemi forced herself to smile softly. I will come. Deo looked pleased and extended his hand. She placed her fingers in his, hiding the fear building inside her. As they walked down the corridor, she kept her expression calm. You seem more relaxed, Deo observed. That makes me happy. Kemi lowered her lashes. I am trying, Deo. He nodded. Good. Soon, you will see that you belong here. Kemi wanted to pull her hand away, but she held on. Maybe. I just need time. Her answer pleased him greatly, and she saw his shoulders relax. That was what she needed, his guard down. They entered a quiet room where a mat and a low table were arranged. Deo sat down and motioned for her to join him. Kemi, he said softly, I want you to feel safe with me. She looked into his eyes and nodded, though her heart ached. I understand. Inside her mind, she repeated her plan. Gain his trust. Wait for night. Steal the key. Find the heart. End this curse. Deo gently placed his hand over hers. And Kemi knew the game had truly begun. That night, Kemi waited patiently for Deo to fall asleep. She pretended to rest beside him on the mat, breathing slowly until his chest rose and fell in a deep, steady rhythm. When she was sure he was fully asleep, she gently lifted the chain around his neck. Her fingers shook as she slid the small key free. She held her breath until the key was safely in her palm. This is it, she thought. I must find the box. Kemi stepped out of the room quietly and moved through the long corridor. She remembered what the ghost wives told her. The heart was inside a locked wooden box somewhere in the house. She checked one room after another, but none held anything that resembled a hidden heart. She began to panic. Time is running out. Just then, a faint voice called her name. Kemi. She froze. Who is there? A thin old woman stepped out from behind a doorway. Her face was lined with age, but her eyes carried strength. Unlike the ghost wives, she did not look drained. She looked fully aware. Do not fear, the old woman said. I have been waiting. Kemi swallowed. Waiting for what? For the one brave enough to end Deo's reign, the woman replied. Come. Kemi hesitated, but something in the woman's voice felt reassuring. She followed her through a narrow passage Kemi had never noticed before. How do you know my name? Kemi asked. I know all who enter this place, the woman said. I have watched many come and never return. They reached a small room lit by the glow of strange objects. The old woman pulled out a small bottle filled with red liquid and a sharp dagger wrapped in cloth. These are for you, she said gently. Kemi blinked in confusion. What do I need them for? The woman pointed to the bottle. This will weaken him. If you ever face him while he is awake, pour it on his skin. He will lose his strength for a short time. She handed Kemi the dagger next. And this is for the heart. Only this blade can break the stone. Without it, you cannot destroy him. Kemi held the items tightly. But how do I find the box? The woman leaned closer. Return to his room. Lift his mat. The box is hidden underneath. But be careful. Once you take it, he will know. Kemi felt fear twist inside her chest. Who are you? The woman gave a sad smile. A former wife, but too weak to finish what you must do. Kemi nodded slowly. Thank you. I won't fail. She turned back toward the passage. She had the key. She had the dagger. She had the potion. Now she needed courage. And time was running out. Holding the dagger, the red potion, and the small key, Kemi returned quietly through the hidden passage. Her heart pounded, but fear no longer controlled her. Determination did. The old woman's words kept echoing in her mind. Lift his mat. The box is there. She slipped back into Deo's room. He was still asleep, lying peacefully like a harmless man. But Kemi knew better. Moving slowly, she bent down and lifted the edge of the mat. Something wooden touched her fingers. She pulled it out carefully, a small, old box with carvings on it. "This is it," she whispered. Her hands trembled as she slid the key into the lock. It clicked open. Inside lay a dark stone, rough and cold, the heart that kept Deo alive. The moment Kemi touched it, the stone pulsed like it could feel her. Suddenly, Deo's eyes flew open. "Kemi," he said sharply, sitting up. "What are you doing?" Her heart jumped. She backed away, clutching the stone. Deo stood, his face twisting with anger. "Give me that box." Kemi quickly uncorked the red potion and splashed it across his arm. Deo let out a painful groan and staggered forward, his body weakening instantly. "You betrayed me," he said, his voice shaking. Kemi stepped back. "You trapped me. You killed my maids. You took innocent women." Deo reached for her, but his limbs moved slowly, almost dragging. The potion was working. "Kemi, please. I chose you," he gasped. She held the dagger tightly. "And I choose freedom." With both hands, she slammed the dagger into the stone. The house shook violently. Deo screamed, clutching his chest as cracks spread across the black stone. The ghost wives outside cried out, some in fear, some in hope. "Kemi, stop," Deo begged, falling to his knees. But she raised the dagger again and struck the stone a second time. It split into two. A blinding flash filled the room. Deo collapsed completely. His body began to fade, piece by piece, turning into thin dust that scattered into the air. Then silence. Kemi stood still, breathing hard. The ghost wives rushed into the room, Amaka, Ngozi, Simi, and others. But this time, their faces were bright, their eyes no longer hollow. "Kemi, you did it," Amaka whispered. One by one, the wives began to dissolve into soft, golden light. Their spirits were finally free. The old woman appeared at the doorway, smiling. "Your courage saved us all." Kemi's eyes filled with tears as the last of the ghost wives vanished peacefully. The house shook again, this time collapsing slowly. Kemi ran outside just as everything crumbled behind her. She stood alone on the path, breathing deeply. For the first time since she left her palace, she was free. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, subscribe to Tales Vibe for more weekly tales. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We love hearing from our story family all around the world. Until next time, keep your heart open, your imagination alive, and remember, laughter and lessons always go hand in hand.